Hello everyone, how are you? Welcome to my channel. Today we are cooking a tangy and spicy dish called Besan Kay Gattey, or you may know it by the name Gattey Ki Subzi perhaps. It's an authentic Rajasthani dish but is loved in many parts of India as far as I know. So let's begin. My mother says that the kitchen looks like a mess after I'm done cooking, so for this reason I'll be a sous chef today and my mother will be the executive chef. Besides, I think she cooks this dish better than I do, so she has carte blanche and I'll be doing as she instructs me with zero interjection. The dish is slightly more complex than other Indian dishes and the process is somewhat more elaborate. So we are going to do this in two steps. In the first step, we will prepare the dough, and this dough will be used to prepare chunks that we know as gattey. Now before we prepare the dough, let's look at the spice mix that we are going to use for this. I have here about a spoonful of coarsely crushed cumin, 1.5 spoon of coarsely crushed fennel seeds, a spoonful of finely crushed dried pomegranate seeds. We crush this fine so that it doesn't get stuck between teeth and it gives a nice texture that way. And we have crushed all of these spices separately using mortar and pestle. Also, I have half a teaspoon of carom seeds and a spoonful of dried fenugreek leaves known as sukhi methi or kasuri methi. For the dough, we are using gram flour and it's the main ingredient. We will take about 350 grams of flour in a large utensil so that we can knead it easily. To this, we will add all the spices that we just showed you. In addition, we are adding half a teaspoon of turmeric powder for that typical Indian color, half a spoon of red chili powder, and half a spoon of salt. At the moment we are also adding 3 spoons of oil and 2 tablespoons of curd. Now this curd that we are adding was prepared using full fat milk and it has been sitting outside for about 2 hours. We add oil and curd because gram flour is very dry and has absolutely no fat, so oil and curd will give it the required fat. We will mix this all together and try to bind this into a dough that's not too tight nor too loose. We will start to knead. We will add slightly more curd and oil since the flour still feels dry. We are adding the water, curd and oil with a lot of caution since all of them can make the dough loose, which we don't want, because if you mess at this point you will not only need to rethink the amount of flour that goes in it, you would also need to add more spices to compensate for that. So better be safe and add water, curd and oil with some caution. We use water only if it's needed. In this case, we were able to knead the dough with curd and oil itself, so no water was added. After the dough is ready, we will make a ball of it and let it rest for 2 hours. We will advise you that you let the dough sit for somewhat longer duration if you are preparing it in winters, or if you are preparing it with curd that's fresh out of the refrigerator. Due to the curd, the dough should somewhat ferment and it will help make it light and will also give the dish its tanginess. After 2 hours, I am putting a large utensil on fire and we will fill it half with water for boiling. Simultaneously, we will make rolls out of dough as you see here. These rolls should be of the size so that you can place them easily in the utensil, and they should neither be too fat nor too slender. If you make them too fat, they won't cook properly, and if they are too slender, you risk breaking them. When the water is just about boiling, we will gently place these rolls in water for cooking. Initially, we will let it cook on high flame for about 2 minutes, and subsequently we will reduce the flame to low and will cook for another 10 minutes. As the rolls begin to cook, you will observe them getting swelled and they will rise to the surface. This indicates that the fermentation had been proper. We will remove the rolls only after about 10 to 12 minutes of cooking, even if they rise. This will ensure that they are properly cooked. So total cook time in water of the rolls will be around 10 to 12 minutes only. After cooking the rolls for 12 minutes in water, we will remove them in a plate, let them cool for about 2 minutes. Remember not to let the rolls rest in hot water after 10 to 12 minutes, as the water will overcook them. And we will keep this water and may use it for preparing the gravy later. After they are cool, we will cut them as you see here. Now on to the next step, in which we are going to prepare gravy. To prepare gravy, we will be using tomatoes as base. Some people also use onions. It's totally up to you and how you wish to do it. We prefer gravy without onions. Since we want this to be tangy, I will take 4 large size desi tomatoes, which are somewhat sour. And I will also take 1 large size Bombay tomato, and we have pureed them together and kept it ready. We will be preparing gravy in this pan. We will light the flame, and to this we are adding about 4 spoons of oil. Now, since my health conscious mother is cooking this, I'm not at liberty to add more oil. Otherwise, I would have put at least 4 more spoons. Anyway, we will let the oil heat, and after it's sufficiently hot, we will put a spoonful of cumin and we will let it crackle to the point that it's brownish black and somewhat shy of burning. After this, we will immediately add 2 pinch of asafoetida and a spoonful of dried fenugreek leaves. We will give it all a stir, and to prevent the fenugreek leaves from burning, we will add the pureed tomatoes. To the tomato puree, we had already added a cup of water. So if you did not do that, you may want to do it now, since we will let the tomatoes cook for about 5 to 6 minutes with the lid on at medium flame. But before we put on the lid, we will add about a teaspoon of turmeric, half a spoon of red chili powder, and half a spoon of salt. After 5 to 6 minutes, we will add the cut rolls, that is our gattey, to the gravy. Let them cook together for about 5 more minutes on medium flame. At this point, the dish is ready and you can eat it. But to make it somewhat better and to make it more rich, you can add curd, as we are doing. We are adding about 3 tablespoons of thoroughly whisked curd. Now remember to keep the flame low when you're adding curd. After adding curd, we will mix it in slowly and we will cook it to the point that it begins to boil. We will not dry it out completely and we will let it sit for about a minute on low flame so that the oil separates. At this point, we will add a pinch of garam masala and it's done. If you prefer somewhat light gravy, you can use the water that we had saved to bring gravy to the consistency that you like. I can eat both types, but I relish the dry ones more. So that's how we prepare Gattey Ki Subzi, the Rajasthani dish loved by all. I hope you liked the video. Let me know in the comment section if you liked the recipe and if you cooked it. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.